Hi there, Mark Jamin, Medical Director of the Haywood County Health Department, and let's talk about this pandemic. Today, in part 7 of our Reopening Survival Guide, let's talk about houses of worship. Now, this is not really political, and it's not a First Amendment issue, because the virus doesn't care about laws or the Constitution or borders or beliefs. So let's look at this through the lens of risk and harm reduction. You might recall my use of the hammer and the dance to describe a possible path through this pandemic. First, there was the hammer phase. We all needed to get a grasp on where we were headed and flatten the curve. And now we are in the dance phase, and have been for much of the past month, trying to navigate the delicate balance required to both protect health and preserve the economy, preserving the chance for benefit while reducing the risk of harm. Fall too far one way or the other, and we risk substantial effects. So where do houses of worship fit? Many have found a balance in their efforts to continue their vital role in our lives while gathering in ways that reduce the risk of harm. Drive-through or parking lot services, encouraging congregation members with underlying conditions to stay home. These are examples. But let's look closer at this as some begin to worship indoors. And the 3 W's provides us that lens. The first W, wash. How will you provide supplies so people can wash and disinfect surfaces? Shared items like prayer books, offering plates, pews. What about bathrooms? Second W, wait. This is for distancing, and this is the most challenging of the W's. Where do people go in and out of your facility? What about the parking lot? We know now that in an enclosed space, the 6-foot distancing and 50% capacity guidelines may not be enough to prevent spread. Even more so if there's singing or loud talking going on. These substantially increase the risk of spread. And the proper distancing means in all directions, front and behind, as well as side to side. And in an enclosed space, the third W, wearing a mask, becomes even more important to reduce exposure if someone there happens to be infected. We have seen this over and over in other places, and here in western North Carolina and Haywood County, enclosed spaces really ramp up the risk. And as we know from the example of the choir in Washington State, all of whom were following the 6-foot rule, yet 45 of the 60 members practicing that day got sick. Little known also is that one of those people went to Vancouver, British Columbia for an outdoor funeral. Afterwards, 27 people went to the house. 18 got infected and really contributed to the spread there. Through the lens of your IQ, now, you would hope no one who was sick would go to a worship service. You would expect that they would stay home and isolate themselves. And you would hope that a person would recognize their risk to others and isolate properly. You would hope someone exposed, tested, or waiting for results would stay home on quarantine. But then you'll join me in being disappointed to find out that not everyone has done that. So, are you set up to screen those coming into your sanctuary? And that leads to the golden rule of gathering. Gather with others as you would want them to gather with you. Support each other to be careful, not only for themselves, but for others. These risk reduction measures are not just for you. They are also for those around you. Because although we do not know the number of people running around as asymptomatic carriers, or without symptoms before their symptoms start, we do know there are some. For example, after South Korea reopened, one person in a place of business infected 140 others. Don't give something to someone you would not want them giving to you. That's the golden rule of gathering. It is these super spreading events that account for much of what we are seeing here, too, in Haywood County. This is why so many of us, who have been lucky enough not to be exposed, don't see the risk. It hasn't happened to them, or someone they know. But past performance is no guarantee of future success, and some of us know that all too well. We are now well aware any indoor gathering, indoor worship services included, is a high-risk environment. And you don't have to look any further than what's happened in Macon County just next door in the past month to affirm that. This calls for more in the way of risk reduction measures, not less. And when you balance the opportunity for benefit against the risk of harm in gathering indoors to worship, be aware of what you are walking into, and be aware of what you're asking others to walk into. Now, for even more considerations, check out CDC guidance and the North Carolina Count on Me initiative. The Haywood County Health Department also is available to assist and answer your questions and concerns as well. So be well and be careful, especially right now.